At 12:23 in the morning on August 31st, 1997, a black Mercedes entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris at high speed. Seconds later, it struck the 13th concrete pillar. Henri Paul, the driver, died. Dodi Fayed, sitting in the back, died at the scene. Diana, Princess of Wales, was still alive but critically injured. Her bodyguard, Trevor Rhys-Jones, was the only survivor. In one violent moment, a summer romance became one of the most examined tragedies of the modern age. But Dodi Fayed's story began long before Diana. He was born in Alexandria, Egypt, on April 15, 1955. His full name was Ahmad el-Din Mohamed Abdel Monem Fayed. His father was Mohamed Al Fayed, the ambitious businessman who later owned Harrods in London and the Ritz Hotel in Paris. His mother was Samira Khashoggi, a woman from a powerful Saudi family. Her brother, Adnan Khashoggi, became one of the most famous international arms dealers of his era. Mohammed and Samira married in 1954. Their son was born the following year into wealth, influence, and expectation. Yet money did not create a stable home. When Dodi was about 4 years old, his parents divorced. His father kept custody. From then on, Dodi grew up inside Mohammed's expanding world, while his mother became a distant and deeply missed figure. Mohamed Al Fayed wanted more than financial success. He wanted recognition from the British establishment. He wanted his family accepted by the people who inherited titles, clubs, country houses, and social authority. Britain often welcomed his money while keeping him at a distance. That struggle shaped Dodi's entire life. Dodi studied at Institut Le Rose in Switzerland, one of the most exclusive schools in the world. He lived among children of kings, bankers, industrialists, and international elites. He learned languages, manners, confidence, and the hidden rules of high society. He learned how to enter the room, but not how to stop wondering whether he was truly welcome. His greatest success came with Chariots of Fire, released in 1981. The film told the story of British runners at the 1924 Paris Olympics. Dodi received an executive producer credit. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture. For a moment, he seemed close to becoming more than a wealthy heir. In 1985, Mohamed Al Fayed and his brothers acquired Harrods. The famous department store was a symbol of British luxury and tradition. The purchase brought enormous attention and a bitter struggle with businessman Tiny Rowland. Questions were raised about financing citizenship and legitimacy. Mohammed responded with lawsuits, accusations, and relentless efforts to gain acceptance. By then, Dodi was 30. Rich, handsome, and well-connected, but still uncertain of his own place. In 1986, he married American model Suzanne Gregard. The marriage lasted only a few months. That same year, his mother Samira died of a heart attack at the age of 51. Her death closed the possibility of repairing the distance that had defined his childhood. While Dodi moved through film and international society, Diana was living inside another form of privilege. She married Prince Charles in 1981 when she was 20. The wedding at St. Paul's Cathedral looked like a royal fairy tale. Inside the marriage, the reality was much colder. Charles was older, emotionally guarded, and still connected to Camilla Parker Bowles. Diana was young, sensitive, and hungry for affection. She gave birth to Prince William in 1982 and Prince Harry in 1984. Motherhood became the most emotionally secure part of her life. By the late 1980s, the marriage had become a public crisis. In 1992, Andrew Morton's book, Diana. Her true story revealed her loneliness, bulimia, and despair. It later became known that Diana had secretly cooperated through recorded answers. Charles and Diana formally separated in 1992. The divorce was finalized in 1996. Diana lost the style Her Royal Highness, but remained Diana, Princess of Wales. She kept her home at Kensington Palace and remained devoted to William and Harry. She reduced her official charities and focused on causes she cared about most. Her serious relationship with heart surgeon Hasnat Khan ended before the summer of 1997. That summer, Mohamed Al Fayed invited Diana and her sons to holiday with his family in the Mediterranean. William was 15. Harry was 12. Diana accepted because she wanted warmth, security, and a place where she could relax with her children. The family yacht Jonacle offered sunshine staff privacy and every possible comfort. At first, Dodi was not the center of the holiday. Diana was there as a mother. She swam, laughed, rested, and spent time with her sons. Dodi joined the group and behaved carefully around the boys. He was gentle, attentive, and less emotionally demanding than the men Diana had known before. After the first holiday, Diana returned to the Al Fayed world. This time, she spent more time alone with Dodi. The atmosphere changed. Dodi courted through attention. There were flowers, gifts, meals, calls, yachts, villas, and the feeling that every detail had been prepared for her pleasure. Diana had known royal service, but Dodi's attention was more personal and openly admiring. Diana had her own reasons for moving closer. She was lonely, hurt by the end of her relationship with Hasnat Khan and tired of being portrayed as the rejected woman. Dodi made her feel desired. He offered escape, warmth, and visible attention. Their needs met at exactly the right moment, but that did not mean they wanted the same future. There was also another woman. American model Kelly Fisher believed she was engaged to Dodi. She said he had promised marriage, given her a ring, and encouraged her to reduce her modeling work. When photographs of Dodi and Diana appeared, Kelly felt publicly humiliated. She hired lawyer Gloria Allred and announced legal action for breach of contract. Yet Diana continued seeing him. The relationship moved faster as photographers became more aggressive. Images of Diana and Dodi together on yachts were worth enormous sums. Every embrace, meal, swim, and movement became evidence for a global audience. By late August, speculation focused on a ring. Dodi visited Repossi, a luxury jeweler in Paris. A ring connected to the Dis Moi Oui collection was selected or purchased. The name meant, "Tell me yes." Mohamed later insisted Dodi planned to propose, but there is no reliable proof that Diana had accepted an engagement or intended to marry him. On August 30th, 1997, Diana and Dodi flew from the Mediterranean to Paris and landed at Le Bourget Airport. They visited Villa Windsor, the former Paris home of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. The symbolism was striking. Diana, divorced from the Prince of Wales, walked through a house associated with a king who had given up the throne to marry Wallis Simpson. They later went to the Ritz Paris, owned by Mohamed Al Fayed, and stayed in the imperial suite. They planned to dine at Benoit, but the number of photographers made the plan difficult. They returned to the Ritz, attempted to eat in the restaurant, then moved to the suite for privacy. Dodi wanted to take Diana to his apartment near the Champs-Élysées. A security plan was created. 2 vehicles left from the front of the Ritz as decoys. Diana and Dodi left through the rear entrance in a black Mercedes S280. Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Ritz, drove the car. He was not the couple's regular chauffeur. Trevor Rhys-Jones sat in the front passenger seat. Diana and Dodi sat in the back. The rear passengers were not wearing seatbelts. The Mercedes left shortly after midnight on August 31st. Photographers on motorcycles and scooters followed. The car traveled at high speed toward the Pont de Alma tunnel. At approximately 12:23, it entered the tunnel, lost control, and struck the 13th concrete pillar. Henri Paul and Dodi died at the scene. Trevor Rhys-Jones survived with catastrophic injuries. Diana remained alive, but had severe internal damage. French emergency teams treated her at the scene before taking her to Pitié-Salpêtrière Hospital. Doctors discovered a devastating injury to a pulmonary vein that caused massive internal bleeding. Despite surgery, Diana was pronounced dead at about 4 in the morning. She was 36. Dodi was 42. Dodi was buried on September 1st, 1997, after prayers at London Central Mosque. The burial took place at Brookwood Cemetery in Surrey, according to Muslim custom. His remains were later moved to a mausoleum on the Al Fayed family estate. Diana's funeral took place at William and Harry walked behind their mother's coffin with Charles Prince Philip and Earl Spencer. A card from Harry, with the word "Mummy," rested among the flowers. Elton John performed a revised version of Candle in the Wind. Diana was buried at Althorpe. Mohamed Al Fayed rejected the official explanation. He said Dodi and Diana had been murdered. He claimed they were engaged, and that Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child. He argued that powerful figures could not accept the mother of the future king marrying an Egyptian Muslim man. French investigators concluded that Henri Paul had consumed alcohol, had traces of medication in his body, and was driving at excessive speed. The pursuing photographers, the lack of seatbelts and rushed security decisions also contributed to the disaster. Operation Paget, a major British police investigation, examined the alleged pregnancy engagement ring role of British intelligence, royal family paparazzi Henri Paul, and another vehicle believed to have touched the Mercedes. It found no evidence that Diana was pregnant, no proof of a formal engagement, and no evidence of a murder plot. The later British inquest reached a verdict of unlawful killing caused by the grossly negligent driving of Henri Paul and the actions of the pursuing vehicles. The verdict did not confirm assassination. It identified a fatal chain of speed impairment, pursuit poor decisions, and the absence of seatbelts. Mohamed continued to reject those findings. At Harrods, he created memorials to Diana and Dodi, including photographs, objects linked to their final evening, and a bronze statue called Innocent Victims. He wanted the world to remember his son as Diana's devoted partner, not as a footnote. After Harrods was sold in 2010, the store gradually separated itself from the Al Fayed family's private story. In 2018, the statue of Diana and Dodi was removed and returned to Mohamed. He died in 2023, one day before the anniversary of the Paris crash, still convinced that his son had been murdered. Dodi Fayed remains frozen at the age of 42. He never had the chance to explain the ring answer, Kelly Fisher, define his relationship with Diana, or finally build a life beyond his father's control. No one knows whether Diana would have accepted a proposal, laughed it away, or ended. What is clear is that Dodi was more than the man who died beside Diana. He was a child, separated from his mother, a son raised beneath an overwhelming father, a wealthy heir who wanted an independent identity, a film producer attached to an Oscar-winning success, and a generous but indecisive man who often tried to express love through luxury. Diana understood what it meant to be seen constantly, and understood poorly. Dodi understood what it meant to gain access without achieving true acceptance. For a few weeks in the summer of 1997, their loneliness, desire, pride, and need for escape came together under the Mediterranean sun. Then the story accelerated beyond their control. The press wanted photographs, Mohamed wanted recognition, Dodi wanted significance. Diana wanted freedom, affection, and proof that her life after the palace could still feel large. Each person continued moving forward for a different reason. No one slowed the story down. The Mercedes carried more than 4 passengers into the Paris tunnel. It carried a father's ambition, a son's insecurity, a princess's loneliness, the hunger of the press, and a sequence of reckless decisions. Money had provided yachts, hotels, cars, guards, and private rooms. It could not provide the one thing they needed most that night. Time to stop. Dodi spent his life trying to escape definitions created by other people. He was Mohamed Al Fayed's son, a wealthy playboy, a film producer, Kelly Fisher's promised husband, and finally, Diana's last lover. History gave him fame at the exact moment it took away his chance to decide who he wanted to become. That is the deepest tragedy of Dodi Fayed. The world finally looked directly at him only when it was already too late. He entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel as a man still searching for identity. He emerged from it as a symbol remembered by millions, fully known by very few, and forever tied to the woman beside him in the final minutes of his life.